Hello, everybody. I just moved places, so hopefully you guys can all hear me. I got my jacket over my little tripod, so trying to cancel out as much noise as I can. Let me send this to people. I hope you all are having a great day. I am in a wonderful place. Like I said earlier, a lot of great things are happening. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you all. Here she go, my girl Shawnti. I'm trying to bring you up right now. And like I said, I'm outside. My daughter wanted to go outside, so we're at the park. Make sure that you guys can hear me.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hey,
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Let me turn this volume up.
Good. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure I'm outside. Great. So how are you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. So many great things happening right now. Um, so I want you to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, what you do.
I am Shawnti Refuge. I am a mental health advocate, writer, and speaker. I help people to help themselves heal from emotional issues and mental issues such as anxiety and depression through the art of guided journaling.
Yes, and we love a good guided journal. And she got all of them. We got all of them. Any subject, in all the stuff. We're gonna get into that a little bit later, but that's the plug, okay? So tell me, how did you get started with your journals?
How I got started, it was not on purpose, but in 2019, I woke up one day and I did not feel good mentally. You know how you wake up and you just in this funk. I literally felt like this cloud hanging over my head. So I was like, oh, it's the funk, it'll go away. I'll be fine tomorrow. And tomorrow never came. Actually, every day got worse. And I started, crying, being mad. I was just going through these cycles of, emotions that I couldn't control. And so I want to say a month into it because I kept saying, okay, I'll be better tomorrow. I'll be better tomorrow. So a month had passed and my wife was like, I need you to go get some help because I don't know how much longer I might be able to put up with this. So I didn't know what was wrong with me. I went to the doctor, my primary care doctor, and I told her what was going on, and she gave me antidepressants. And she said, take these, come back in 6 weeks to let me know if it worked. And I came back, they did not work. And she gave me a higher dosage and said, come back in 6 weeks and let me know how it worked. I came back 6 weeks. So this is what, 4, 8, 12 weeks later now that I'm having these outbursts and, just being mad, crying because the antidepressants weren't working. So when I went back to her that second time, she was like, okay, I'm not telling you something's wrong with you. I'm telling you you're special and I need you to go see a psychiatrist. And normally I would be like, I'm going to see no psychiatrist. That's for white people. And so I was like, okay, it's either keep acting crazy because I was acting crazy or, get some help. So I went to the psychiatrist and of course she gave me antidepressants too. And they worked for 30 days, exactly 30 days they worked. Thought I was back to myself. I wasn't having outbursts. I wasn't crying. I wasn't nothing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling fine. And I want to say literally on the 31st day, they stopped working again. So I was like, okay, I am not going to be on medication the rest of my life and having to up the dose every time it's not working. So I decided at that point, I want to find out what's wrong with me because whatever it was, the medication just numbed it. It didn't heal me from whatever it was. So I decided to go to a therapist and, talking to the therapist, we started off at childhood and from there on to 2019, I went through, all the events that had happened in my life that, I either ignored, buried, hey, um, pretended like it didn't happen. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. When apparently I did care. Like in the back of my mind, I really did care. So all of those outbursts I was having, they all just exploded at one time. And that's why I was acting crazy. And when I say acting crazy, I was doing things I wouldn't normally do, like, going off on people. I don't know if they said something or, something used a word to trigger me to start acting, going off, because I don't act like that. And I found myself acting like that. And I found myself getting to the point where if I didn't get any help, that I was going to start getting physical with my actions. And I didn't want to do that because then that would, of course, lead me to go to jail. So I decided, I talked with a therapist, worked through some things, and she suggested that I start journaling. When she initially said to journal, I'm thinking a notebook and just start writing. And that's what I did. And that did not work for me. It made me mad. Because it was bringing back all this stuff I'm trying to, get rid of, and I found myself, being mad at it, wanting to bury it again. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to, figure out what it was, heal from it, and move the hell on. And when I told her the regular journaling wasn't working, she suggested that I try journal prompts. And the journal prompts, I never heard of it before. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try, So she gave me a list of questions to write up, to answer to. And once I started answering these questions, I was being very detailed because the question was detailed. So I was being detailed in my answer. And that led me to realize that, anger was my end result, but I had all these different layers of stuff that I needed to get rid of underneath that anger. And the prompts worked for me. So I was like, okay, they're working. So I started creating my own journal prompts. So I had different prompts for the 50 million issues that I had. So, I had them for self-love, self-awareness, goal setting, anger management, all kind of stuff. And so I said, okay, so I started writing in each of them because I did learn that when you journal, you're not supposed to journal in one journal about everything. You're supposed to have separate journals for each issue. So that's where I came up with the different journals. And so I was like, okay, well, this is working for me. I'm okay. Like in 2 weeks of me consistently journaling, I started feeling better. No drugs, nothing but my journal and my pen and just writing it out. And that started making me feel better. I started feeling like, oh, weight is being lifted off of my shoulders. I was like, this feels good. So, kept writing, kept writing. Yeah, I do. Thank you. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm fine now. I can get back to, how I was before, or so I thought. And so, no, I heard this little thing in my ear, this little person in my ear saying, no, you're feeling better, but what about everybody else? You need to go and help somebody else. And so I was like, and I was at a point in my life where I didn't like people. I would say I do not like people because I didn't like people, but it wasn't the people, it was me. And so through guided journaling, I learned how to, start liking and loving myself so that I can go out and help other people. So I created a line of guided journals. And each guided journal has a different topic, and all of them are based on the things I went through. So it's 26 journals, I think. Yeah, 26. It's going to be more in a minute because I keep getting requests for more. So I have 26 guided journals, and each one is a different topic that helps you to help yourself heal. It can be used in conjunction. You can use it by yourself if you refuse to talk to people because, a lot of us feel like, I don't want to go talk to anybody. I don't want to tell anybody my business. And because, that's how I grew up, don't you tell anybody what's going on, so there are still people like that. So if you feel like you can't trust someone to talk to and to actually help you and not run your business back to somebody else, then the journal can be used in conjunction with therapy. You can use it on your own. You can use it in a multitude of ways, and they work. I stand behind my journals because they help me to become the person I'm supposed to be. Because back then, before my healing process, I didn't know who I was, what I was, when I was, none of that. But I have found my calling, I have found my calling with helping people. And I go around now and tell my story. I have a lot of stories, girl. I tell my story of how I was before versus how the journaling, nothing but guided journaling, helped me to be who I am now. And that's what I want to do for other people, because I feel like, when you go to a doctor, you go for help, but they don't always help you. They just, they stuff pills down your throat and say, come back and see me. Because that's what happened to me. And they weren't concerned about how I got to this point. How did you get to where you blowing up and crying and, cussing people out and stuff? They didn't ask me any of that. They just said, here, take this. And, that's like putting a pacifier in a baby's mouth. I always use that analogy. Uh, it's like, a baby screaming and howling. You don't know what's wrong with it, so you put a pacifier in their mouth and they be quiet. But if you yank it back out, like me, the medicine wasn't working, stopped working. I started back doing the same thing I was doing before. So that's why I tell people, if you need medication, by all means, take it. But don't let that be your first resort. Let it be your
Yeah,
middle to last resort. Try the
yeah.
guided
I
journey.
want to unpack that for real because I think um, along with the stigma, because we still have the stigma from back in the day. Um, therapy was used actually as a tool to lock us up and send us to mental institutions. So
Yep.
a lot of that stigma stems from that, and also not having culturally being understood in these spaces where people are supposed to understand you, and yet they can't because there's a huge cultural difference. There's a whole bunch of things in the textbooks. I've done a whole bunch of research and schooling and stuff, and from the medical field to the going into psych and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of things in there that were put in there to indoctrinate people um, to actually increase mental illness. So a lot of people are just going off of what they know and what they were taught, and not culturally understanding the people that they're actually serving. And a lot of times, people are misguided to go to what is it called? A psychiatrist, which
Yes.
deals with medication and things like that, when you should be seeing a psychologist. There's a difference. So,
Exactly.
and your first thing should always be, and even as a psychiatrist, they shouldn't be prescribing you pills without actually understanding your underlying issues. So, you want to go to a psychologist and ask for talk therapy specifically,
Yes.
so you can start there to start unpacking the things that are inside. And if you need further assistance, then they can see, okay, well, we need to get some medication for you. And even that is, up and down because everybody's brain chemistry is different. But just as a starting point, should always, if you're looking to seek a medical professional, look into a psychologist. And I
See,
was lucky for me in high school to have a
yes.
psychologist that actually started me on my self-reflection journey and
Good.
doing journal prompts. And the way she talked to me made me think about everything that I was doing, and because I wanted to be in that field, I started using it for myself outside of therapy and just doing my own reflection, and it's been a part of my life ever since. So I was lucky in that way. However, everybody's not that lucky, and every doctor, just every psychologist, just like every doctor, is not going to be for you. So if you don't resonate with that one, and you can try someone else, because everyone is not equipped to handle your situation.
I went through four before I found my one. So yes.
Yeah, yeah, it be like that. And also want to talk about you said like get you were trying to like get rid of your pain instead of going through it. And I think that is like the most important thing for us. I did a video a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, about me myself, even in my own meditation, doing a visualization where I was trying to get rid of some stuff, and that it
Mhm.
stopped me in the middle of my meditation. It was like, no, you have to use this. Like, you have to use this to get through what you are doing. And a lot of times we're just like, I don't want this no more. I want it out. when you actually have to go through that process and allow yourself to process what it is and use what you've been through to now fuel what you are going to do, just like you did with your journals.
Exactly, because before the journaling, before I even went to go get help, I was drinking and smoking and doing using all these vices that we typically go to, but they were temporary. They weren't, they worked for when they worked, but then they quit, just like the medication. It worked for when it worked, but it didn't heal. And a lot of people don't want to face their past. And in order for you to go through the healing process, first you have to admit that there is a problem. And you have to be ready to face it, because it is not a pretty process at all. Because during the healing, it took me almost 2 years to go through this process. And since I started journaling, I haven't had a depressive moment. I get down sometimes. I have my moments, but not where I was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I never, it was dark. It was dark. Everything was dark. And now all I see is light. And I'm happy to tell my story and share my experiences. So to let other people know, other people who look like us know that, you're not by yourself. You don't go through this by yourself. And you shouldn't have to go through it by yourself. And that's why I offer, the resources. I even had people who want to speak to me, one-on-one type of thing. And I'm like, I have to make it clear, I'm not a therapist. I am not a therapist, but I can only tell you what I know. And the things I know that I share is because I went through it myself. And, it's okay to ask for help. And I think that's another reason why a lot of us don't get help, because either we're ashamed, embarrassed, scared of being judged, and all this other stuff. But there has to come a point where all of that stuff, you're going to have to say, oh, well, so what? Because believe me, I have been judged. I have been talked about. I'm still being talked about, but I'm still sharing my story. That's not going to stop me, because I want to help other people to overcome that, so they can live their lives the way they're supposed to, and not living in the past, holding on to old stuff that don't even matter.
And it sounds like Coach Shawnti is in the making. That's what I'm hearing. That's all I heard.
I'm working on it. Working on it.
A little bit of that, I want you to talk about your experience in therapy. Like, what did that look like for you, and how did you feel?
Oh Lord. Okay, the first therapist I had, it took me a while, a couple of sessions. The sessions when you initially go to therapy, they want to see you once a week. So that therapist, the first therapist I saw, I did not like her. And it took me about maybe 4 sessions to realize that she wasn't for me, because, she wasn't helping me. To me, it felt like she was just taking in all of my information and doing nothing with it. I'm like, okay, why am I here? I could talk to the wall at home. I'm paying you and you're not helping me. So I found another therapist. We had 1 session and she didn't want to see me again. And instead of her just saying, hey, I don't think I'm the right fit for you, she ignored me and, wouldn't respond. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking a hint. I'll go move on. I found a third one, and I don't even think I ever went to see her. And then I found my fourth one, and I fell in love with her, and I told, and things like that triggered my abandonment issues, because it's like, why doesn't anybody want to talk to me? I don't feel, it's making me feel like I'm not worthy of being helped. But I found one, and I told her up front, because I loved her at the first session. I loved her to death. And I told her, don't leave me. And she was like, why would you say that? She told me, she said, it's up to you when you're ready to leave me. But she fooled me with that one too. But in the beginning, she said, I'm not going to leave you. And I believed her. And, you have to keep going till you find the one for you. The one for you. And my fourth one, she was the one for me so much that she had to break up with me And that was like after 2 years. She said, okay, I don't want you depending on me. You have the tools. You know what to do. We can do, quarterly checkups, but we don't need to, I don't need to see you every week. You know what to do. And I need you to go use those tools that have. And so it's a process. You're not going to fall in love with your first therapist. It's rare that you would. And, since therapy, I still have my checkups every now and again. So don't think that, because I want to, even though I know what I'm doing, I want to make sure that I'm still on the right track to healing, because healing is like, it's picture an onion. You're peeling back layer after layer after layer. And with each layer, you're having to relearn yourself and know who you are. And that first layer that I started peeling, it scared the hell out of me, because I'm like, who is this person? I don't know her. And I had to get to know myself again, which means everybody around me had to get to know me too, especially my wife. She didn't know what was going on with me. But now, she understands, I'm peeling back layers, and it's like starting all over again. But you are worth it. And, you're worth going through this process. You're worth going through the healing. You're worth letting go of these past things that made you who you are today. What happened to you does not define you. And that was an issue that I had, and it's healthy to, heal from that. Face it, heal from it, move on, and, be yourself and not who you think people want you to be.
Absolutely. And unpacking that, talk a little bit about like your childhood and what led up to all of this.
Ooh, childhood. Let's see. I love my mom. She always thinks I'm talking negatively about her, but I'm not. I love my mom, but she was not, she was a good parent, but she wasn't the perfect parent, but who is the perfect parent? Um, Back then, I thought she was, everything, the best mom in the world, because she kept our hair done. We stayed fly in the best clothes. We wasn't hungry. The lights wasn't off. To me, that was a great parent. It wasn't until I became an adult that I learned that I was missing something from my childhood, and that was affection. So back then, when I was a kid, I was not knowingly looking for affection, looking for love. And that led me to start having sex at an early age. I was 12 when I started having sex. I didn't even know I was having sex until I got older. I just knew I was doing something that I thought I was supposed to do. I thought that's what was required in order to, be emotional, be affectionate, or whatever. I didn't know. I wasn't educated on that. And then at 14, I became a mom. So, I didn't know that was a traumatic experience. And I didn't know that until later on in life, like much later on in life. My therapist had to tell me that was a traumatic experience. Imagine you 14, you in the 8th grade, and you pregnant. That's traumatic. You're having a baby in the 9th grade. That's traumatic. So I had a lot of stuff to unpack that I didn't know that needed unpacking. I thought it was normal.
Right. And I think I was just talking in a room on Clubhouse about this. Like when we start to unpack the things that happen in our childhood, we start to
Mm-hmm.
notice that we were either perpetrating the same things, or
Yeah.
we are encouraging those type of things into our lives. So like, in what ways did you see the things that happened to you in your childhood play out for you in your adulthood?
Ooh, let's see. Um, I have, well, I had my one when I was 14, so I graduated high school with a 3-year old. Um, I always said I'm not gonna be the kind of mom that my mom was to me, and I ended up being the kind of mom that I was, like my mom was. It was like a cycle, and I did my best with it. Of course, I was a kid. Um, I had a lot of help. I do thank my family for, being there for me. But when I had my second one, and I was like, okay, okay, I got two now, and I'm not gonna be like my mama for real this time. I'm gonna do everything that my mama didn't do. And what I mean by that is I had this Huxtable mentality. Like, we're going to be like the Huxtables. We're going to eat at the table. We're going to do things together, blah, blah, blah. And another thing that I didn't want my children to see me with different people. And that's one thing I think I did do right on, because I didn't let them around anybody. Especially when I'm in a relationship, I didn't let them, around anybody. But, I tried to be a good person and a good mom, and some may think my best wasn't good enough, and sometimes that I could see in some areas where the things that I didn't do or did do have influenced my children. So now me and my oldest daughter Tavia, we are in a great place, and there was a time that we weren't in one. But I had to make a commitment to heal myself first, because in the beginning I was trying to heal everybody. I'm like, I'm on this healing journey. Y'all need to come with me. And I did not know at the time it didn't work like that. I had to start with me first. And that's what I did. I started with myself first, and I had to have a come to Jesus with a lot of people. And if y'all don't know what a come to Jesus is, that means, you get to get with that person who you've had conflict or issues with, or, any kind of trauma. I love you too, baby. Don't make me cry out here. The conflict that you had with that person, you're supposed to talk to them face to face, and that's what I had to do. I had to do a come to Jesus with my mom. I had to come to Jesus with Tavia, with my dad, and with my other daughter. And out of four come to Jesuses, two and a half turned out great. I had one where they were in denial that anything I ever said, this is what happened when I was a kid, and they either denied it or deflected. And then I had another come to Jesus where it was perfect. You know, they apologized, and we're closer than ever now. Two of them. So the half was my mama. Me and her, the come to Jesus came out halfway okay. I was able to express myself, but I had to learn that, how information is received is not my responsibility. All I could do is, say what I need to say. And, I said it with love and respect. And, I even gave a disclaimer. I'm not saying, this, and this about you. I need to get this off of my chest so that I can heal. But of course, I had to journal it first. I mean, I had a whole script of all the points that I wanted to talk about with every person. And I did that. And it turned out great. And, we're still on our journeys. So now I'm healing. My daughter's healing. My dad's healing. My mama is half healing. So, we're good.
Yes, and I always say, always say, hurt people, but healed people do not heal people. Healed people
No,
heal themselves, and other people will follow suit. So in your healing journey, you were able to open up a gateway for your family. And I think
yeah,
I was reading something on Twitter or something where like people were reminiscing about like being left in the house alone as kids and stuff like that, and our parents don't remember that. And I think it goes to the same thing where like and the things that hurt us, right? Our parents and even us, like we are so caught up in what we're trying to do and like what our mission is as a parent, right? That we forget about all the things that we are doing in the midst to and for our kids, right? Because we just going based off of where we at the time. Like you can only do what you can with what you have, and not everybody. Some people don't have it, and some people are working on
exactly.
it, and that's just where they are at. And we have to understand and not take other people's journeys personal. Although, as somebody's child, you take that personal because you're my parent. However,
Yeah,
as a
my
human being, you just realize that you human, I'm human. We got to
mom.
work on our own selves, and hopefully, we can come together in a space of understanding,
Yeah.
which is the
Oh,
hardest part.
yeah. I mean, I still have my youngest daughter who we have no contact at all whatsoever. And I tried to come to Jesus with her in March, I want to say, and it didn't go well. And you know, she wasn't ready for that conversation. And, when she is ready, I'm sure she'll be ready later on in life. And when she's ready, I'll be here for her. But I'm on my healing journey. It's not about, it's not about anybody else. It's about me. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. But like you said, don't take it personal. This is about me.
Yeah. And that is my ministry. My ministry is about self and
Yes,
taking back being selfish. Only in a new way, because I'm all about deconstructing things. So being selfish in a way where you are the center in your universe and then you can give to other people, because we are in a broken world. And if we're not working on ourselves, and if we're worried about how our journey is affecting other people, then we'll never get to the point to where we can have self-mastery. And once you have
exactly.
self-mastery and you understand yourself and your triggers and how you are affecting other people, excuse me, how other people are affecting you, then
Hmm.
you can start to have these moments where you like, okay, I'm at this place, I can help you. Okay, I'm at this place, let me give you this advice, and be okay with people not taking it. You know, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Not having a say in either, because, like I said, you can't heal people. People are going to do their own
No,
healing work, and even if you do have gifts, people have their own free will, so they can do what they
yeah,
choose with what you give them. So they don't have to
exactly.
take it, and they have the option to go the other way at any point in time, which we all do. We all steer our
Right.
path. We all are going to make mistakes because we're all human, and that's just part of
Yeah.
the journey.
It is. I mean, but once you learn yourself, like you said, you'll know when to say yes, when to say no, when to stop, when to go. You'll know these things. Like now, I'm still learning some of that. And, depending on the person or the situation, I know, how you see these memes out when it's family occasion and you ask who all over there. It's funny, but that's real, because some people's presence might be your trigger. And I that's my first question when my family members say, hey, come over here, who over there? Because if a certain person's over there, I'm not going. It's up to you. It's your responsibility to protect your peace. And you're gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings doing that, but you're more important. You matter.
That is so true. That is so true. Like I say, boundaries. Boundaries is the
Yeah,
most important part of your healing journey.
I know
If
this,
you're
but I know I'm not.
if you're not, what box you gonna put people in? Friends,
Hmm.
friends, you know, family. Oh, and they don't have to all look like blood. These are the people that I talk to every day. These are the people I talk to sometimes. You're an associate. I'm staying away from. Have all these boxes for these people so you don't get confused on what
Exactly.
your journey, and be okay with taking this person out of this box and putting them in another one, because everybody
Exactly.
can go with you. Every
Yes.
season is not for
Oh,
everybody.
everybody can't go with you. Yes, that's something I had to
Every
learn.
evolution, you gotta yourself and relearn what you need in that season. This person that was your confidant this season may not be your confidant this season. You might need to find somebody else to help you elevate to your next level. And it's no shade to them. Y'all not. You don't have to not be friends. You don't have to end on a bad terms. Sometimes you do, but like, you don't have to. It doesn't mean that this person was a bad person. They just weren't for you in this season.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's dust flying. I'm coughing. So I wanted to know a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about your experience in school, like as a parent. Oh, is she buffering? I don't know if that's me or her. But I wanted to know a little bit more about your experience in school as a mother. Oh, my volume off. Oh, I think I lost her for a second. Let's see if she can get back on here. Yeah, but y'all, I'm telling you, boundaries was the most important thing that I learned, and continuously learning. I feel like it's a never ending journey because, like I said, in evolution, in evolving, you're going to constantly keep learning yourself and constantly keep um, finding out that some of these things don't work for me. I know I went, like I said, had a human moment and went back on my boundaries because I thought I healed and I would be able to handle certain people back in my life. And that was just not the case for me. It ended up, turning what I was doing into something totally different and kind of derailed me off of my path. And it just reinforced the fact that I'm doing what I have to do and to stick to what I'm doing because the journey is so much better when you're on the path, even though it's okay to not be. It's so much better when you stick to your path. Um, I don't know if there was any questions in here. I'm gonna try to get her back. This maybe her phone died. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions? Go ahead, feel free to write any questions in the chat that you have for her.
Me. I am so sorry. My internet is raggedy.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm like, maybe it's me because I'm out here, no
Me.
Wi-Fi.
I
We
apologize.
okay, we thugging it up. Yeah, but I wanted to know a little bit more about your experience as a young mother, like your experience going through school and stuff like that.
Oh, sure. So, well, first, I met my child's father when I was 13, and I thought he was 16. And later on, we talking or whatever, to me right now, I still say that's too young. But, at the time when I was a kid, I was like, oh, somebody older want to talk to me. You know how kids are. So I just thought I was everything because he picked me out of all of these other little girls. But, we were talking, and I found out later that he was actually 19 and I was 13. So I let my mom know, and she said, well, if I tell you don't talk to him, you're going to do it anyway. So, and she okayed the relationship. And I want to say I got pregnant a month later. I was 14 by then. So I got pregnant. And he was young, not to make excuses for him, but we were both kids. Even though I was a younger kid, he was 19 and I was 14. And, um, I didn't know I was pregnant when I was pregnant, of course, because again, I was not educated on sex. So it took my grandmother to notice, something wasn't right with me. And she told my mom to take me to the pediatrician. So we went to the pediatrician, and I was still in the, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe they could tell me. The doctor took one look at my stomach and said, she's pregnant. I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, are you having sex? And me lying because I was a kid, scared I'm going to get in trouble. I was like, no. So he did an internal examination. He said, she's about 5 months pregnant. And I just like bust out crying, screaming, crying, whatever. And all the thoughts I had was, oh my God, my mama going to kill me. My mama going to kill me. My grandma going to kill me. My grandma going to kill me. And I cried. I want to say I cried from the on the table, walking out the back to the house. I was hanging upside. I remember I was hanging off upside down off the bed, crying. And then my grandmother came and said, "It's okay, it's all right. You made a mistake." And that made me cry even more because I was like, "Oh my God, I disappointed my grandmother." Like her opinion was the only opinion that mattered to me, then. And so then I was like, "Oh, Lord, my mama gonna come home and she gonna whip me." Because that was her form of discipline, whipping. It don't matter what it was, you getting a whipping, So I'm thinking she gonna whip me, and no, and so she didn't. She came home. She was like, "You want to keep the baby?" And I was like, "No." And I'm crying, and she was like, "Okay." She called my daddy, told my daddy my dad lives in Maryland, and I'm in Texas, so he's screaming and howling over the phone, and I'm just like. And he's like, how'd you get yourself pregnant? And I'm like, I don't know. Still in denial, even though, how you get pregnant, but I was still in denial. Just, I was a kid. And so, uh, he asked me if I wanted to keep it. I said no. And I didn't. So, he sent me the money to get an abortion. And, I had the money and I changed my mind. I changed my mind because of my aunt and uncle. They were like, no, don't get an abortion. We'll take the baby. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Y'all can have it. Because they wanted another kid. They had lost a child. So, I said, okay, y'all can have it. And, and I'm talking like it's nothing because that was my mindset back then. And so I used the money for the abortion to go get me some maternity clothes and go get my hair done. And I let the dad know that I was pregnant, and he said it wasn't his. And he basically talked about me, like, what kind of girl are you to have sex with somebody you barely know, stuff like that, whatever. So it got closer to time for me, to give birth, and I had her in December, and I changed my mind about letting my aunt and uncle have it because I thought to myself, you don't want to be one of those families that it come out at Thanksgiving dinner that ain't your cousin, that's your daughter, that's her mama. I just saw that whole scenario played out in my head, and I was like, no, never mind, I'll keep her. And so I kept her. And I don't regret it at all because, I still had, I didn't have my teenage life because I was a mom, but my life was fine. I finished school. I went to school. I had a wonderful lady named Miss Briggs, God rest her soul. She helped me to stay in school, not just me, but a lot of pregnant moms, to stay in school. She paid for our daycare so we could go to school. If we needed summer school, she paid for that too. She made sure that we had all that we needed in order to finish school. She wanted us to finish school, and a lot of us did. And the dad finally came around, but didn't come around. I didn't have any help from him at all. She's 30 years. She ain't a child no more. She's 30 years old now, and he still owe me back pay, and I'm gonna get it too. So anyway, my childhood being a teen mom wasn't bad, but I do want to talk to young teenagers. I want to get them at middle school because that's when I started having sex and didn't know I was having sex, and I want to get to them at that age to let them know you don't have to do that to feel like you are being loved. That's not love. I ain't know that wasn't love. And if they mamas like mine, my mama just said don't do it. So me, don't do what? Let me go see what you don't want me to do. Kids. So I didn't have a bad childhood, but my teen mom years was nothing like Teen Mom on MTV. Nothing like it. And so I don't want these children watching this show thinking that it's, glamorous and it's okay, I mean, not to say it's not okay, I can't judge nobody, but it's like, it's not glamorous at all. I remember having to chase my child's dad down the street with a broken toe. Me had a broken toe. I had to chase him down the street for diaper money. That's not cool. So it's like, it's better to wait, know your worth. And that's what I'm trying to instill in everybody, even adults, because there's a lot of adults that don't know their worth. And, like I said, I tell my story freely. I'm not ashamed of it. I wasn't even ashamed then when I was pregnant. I was just worried I was going to get a whipping. But like as far as other people knowing, except for the kids in school, I ain't like them. So it's like you walking down the hall with a big belly in the 9th grade and Shawnti, you pregnant? You pregnant? I just ignored the asses, didn't answer them. But, I took my baby everywhere with me, not because my mama made me, like you had this baby, you're going to, no, she didn't do that. She took care of Tavia before we got into this program. So, I was proud of my baby. When I got jobs, I put pictures of her up. And when people would say, how old were you when you had her? And I tell them, and they would judge me. And be like, oh, you was fast, huh? In hindsight, yeah, I was. I didn't know I was, but shit happens, and it's not her fault that, that it happened. She didn't ask to be here, but I did the best that I could with what I had, and it's okay, but I would rather you wait. And that's what I would tell my kids: wait, please wait. You don't want this life. Wait, especially if the dad's not around and you're having to, do what you got to do in order to get what you need. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to go through that. So, wait until it's time. It's an opportune time. And we, us black people, we're known for unplanned pregnancies. That's what they put on us anyway. And so it's like I just have to, tell my story so people can understand, wait, don't do that. Listen to your mama or whoever telling you to don't do that. Don't do that. Or at least be educated about sex and your options, which are getting fewer and fewer, but that's a whole nother conversation. But you know.
Which I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important that that you're doing this work and that you want to talk to the youth, because that's also somewhere that's real near dear to my heart. Is talking to the youth about struggles with relationships. What does that look like? What is self-worth? What is self-care? Um, and all those things, because even like using the words like fast, we call our young black girls fast when they're just misguided, or
Exactly.
you know a lot of them are abused already. So it's the stigma that we already give our children to feel worthless. And it's really important to get that instilled young, that sense of self-worth and guidance. Luckily that you had Miss Briggs, because I'm all about community. Like, once we build a community and like a strong tribe around our children, we will see less and less of this teen
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy and a lot of this hate and misguidedness. Because even like, I was in an abusive relationship. I wasn't a teen mom. I had my daughter 20 something, I forget. But like, I wasn't ready. I was sad. I was depressed. I didn't want to have a baby. Like, I wasn't supposed, I knew I was not supposed to have a baby. But since I was misguided, I have no guidance, I didn't have nobody. I was out there on my own and just so happened to get pregnant. Like, I'm not going to give my baby up, which led me into a depression, which led me to stay in an abusive relationship, which led me to go to prison, which led me to meet so many people that I found out so many people have been in this cycle of abuse, from sexual to their parents or people around them shooting them up at like 11, 10, 11, 12. So all these kids are going through these things and nobody
Yeah,
is talking about it, don't understand what's going on. And then we see the ripple effect and the after effect, you know?
exactly.
And I think it's so big that we create this community, to be able to talk about stuff like this and, you know, allow a space for people to understand. I think it's even, I see your daughter in here, I think it's even important for us to
Yeah.
share our stories with our children and our family. Because I don't remember if it was the last live I did or if it was a clubhouse room, but I was talking about how it's very important to share our stories, um, not only just of what we've been through, but even like our medical history, because that is passed down through our bloodline. Our trauma is passed down through our bloodline, and then we don't understand why this is happening or what is going on, but nobody is talking about what they've been through, so we can't heal
Yeah,
together. We can't heal our
exactly.
family, and we can't hear our bloodline. We don't know what's going on with us mentally, if suicide runs in our family, if depression runs in our family, if anxiety runs in our family, because I don't even know what you're going through. I don't know what you've been through. You know what I'm saying? It's
Exactly.
very important to have these conversations and be able to be open and honest about these conversations, because then that heals our family. Because now even if I don't agree, now I understand a little bit. Now when I see it, I get it.
Exactly. And that's it took me to have a nervous breakdown because that's what I had back then. It took me to have that to find out that all of my aunts did too. My mama probably did too, and she just ain't admitting it. And it took all of that for me to learn that depression runs in our family. Didn't know that. And now that I know that, I'm the chain breaker. I'm breaking that by being on platforms, and by healing myself and, helping my daughter through her process. And, whenever I refer my mama to a therapist. I don't know if she's going, but, but I'm doing my part. All I can do is lead you, give you the tools, but I can't make you do nothing. It's up to you. It all begins within you.
Exactly. And before we close out, I want to talk a little bit about healing versus growing because, in the same um, line that you were talking about, you had to have a nervous breakdown. I know that you were in a good place before that. And we a lot of times think because we're growing financially, got a house, got a car, whatever, got a relationship, that we are growing and we don't need to do the healing work. Um, Tell me how your perspective has shifted from being in a state of growth to being in a state of healing.
For me, growth was proving people wrong. Because when I had my first child, I was told that I was going to have stair stepper kids. I was going to have one every year. Oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I was told I wasn't going to graduate high school. Oh, let me show you. I graduated high school and I graduated college twice. I got a bachelor's and a master's on your ass. That was me growing. I'm showing you, y'all talking about me, but I graduated college. I bought a house. I bought my cars. I'm in a marriage that is not like other people's are. Like we're good, and it's not a we're good on the outside, but on the inside we boxing each other up. No, we don't do that. We have a healthy relationship, and you know people only see what they want to see. And so I was showing them, I'm big on let me show you better than I can tell you. And I think all of that led up to my, nervous breakdown too, because I was too busy trying to prove a point. But once I started healing, baby, this stuff ain't nothing. You know, I keep dreaming, and my wife even keep dreaming about us moving somewhere. I told her we was moving to California. She don't believe me. But, now through healing, I'm able to, not, I don't care about what people think now. It's, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me first, then my family. I'm sitting here on these platforms now, being authentic so other people can know, this is me 24/7 with a few more cuss words. I'm trying to calm down on the cuss words because I've been told I cuss too much. But, this is me. And, and I can only say God and my journals, you know, got me together on this healing process so that I am more grateful. I am more mindful. I am, I'm me. At the end of the day, I'm me. And it's not about nobody else. You've seen me, you've seen what I could do. And I wouldn't even heal then. You just watch because I got a whole bunch more I got to do. And it's through my healing that it's going to get done. And it's going to get done the right way and for the right purpose.
I love that. I love that. Wait for this. Okay. Just trying to make sure that truck went by. But yes, absolutely love that because, like I said, we a lot of times we think like, however growth looks like for us, that's the end all be all. When truly we're supposed to be healing, and with healing we grow, and then we evolve. And for y'all who don't understand the evolution, um, the evolution is the ending of one version of yourself and the beginning of a new one.
Yes.
In the that I'm talking about, and every evolution we have to relearn ourselves. Every evolution
Oh, yeah.
requires something new of ourselves. Every
Yes.
evolution requires a new element of growth.
Yes.
And one last thing before we go, where in your evolution are you? What is your next point of growth?
I'm still healing and I'm still growing. My next venture off and growing is I wrote a book, and it's in a finishing process, and so that's something I would never do. Um, so I have a book coming out that's gonna make a lot of people mad, but it's not for them. It's my healing. That's another tool that I'm using to heal myself and for others to read, to so they can heal from it, so they can know I'm just a normal person just like you are. I'm always gonna be a normal person, but my stories is gonna be out there, and um, I'm getting better, much better at manifesting things because I am healing. A lot of people want to manifest and they don't do the healing work first. And that was me in the beginning because I used to be like, oh, I can just say what I want and it'll happen. And, even though it did happen, because I always used to say, I want a 5-bedroom house, 3.5 bath. I used to always say that. It took me a long time to get it, but I got it. But now things are coming to me quicker because I have healing and I recognize that, like I said, there's a lot of layers to me that need to be peeled off. And, I'm going to constantly, learn and heal and grow. Because if you are at a point in your life where you feel like you are done healing, you need a journal. You need one of my. You're never done healing. It's an ongoing process that you have to commit to because once you're healed from this one thing, here comes something else, and you're always going to be challenged, and you have to be ready for it. There's always going to be challenges. I mean, my life isn't peaches and cream, but I know how to handle it now, and I know how to work through it. Just by picking up a journal. I use my own journals. They were made for me to begin with, so I use them for whatever I'm going through. I'm using it, and it's working for me, and I'm healing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, again, let the people know who you are, where they can find you, where they can find your journals, all 128 of them. Okay, we manifesting more and
And
more and more, bigger. So, yeah,
but
let them.
if you don't follow me already, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I am Shawnti Refuge Journals. I'm on Twitter, S Refuge Journals. You can shop the link in my bio. You can also go straight to my website, ShawntiRefugeJournals.com. I am on Walmart.com and soon to be in Walmart stores near you, so look out for that. I'm so excited about that. So you'll be seeing me in the stores later. It's in a process. We're making it happen.
Yes, that is so exciting. And before you go, please leave the people off with some parting words.
Whoever is watching this, you are in a place in your life where it's time for you to let it go and you need to heal. And it's hard to let some things go that you've been so used to hanging on to for so long. It's time to let it go, and you can do it. You don't even have to use my journals. Get a journal. I prefer a guided journal. If you're into free writing, free write it, but write it out. That is the best form of expression that you can do. That's a safe space. um, know that it's time. You are worthy and you are deserving to let that stuff go because it's not serving you anymore. Anyone or anything that isn't serving you, let them go. I don't care how long you've been knowing them. I don't care if you're married to them. I don't care if whatever, if they're your family, let them go if they are not serving you. Period. You are deserving, you are worthy, and you are worth it to be on your healing process. Because what is waiting for you is on the other side of healing. You just have to heal first before you can get it. And I encourage you to do so.
Yes, I love that. Well, have a wonderful day. Everybody on here, have a wonderful day.
Thank
It was great talking with you. Thank you for being open and sharing your story.
you.
I love to hear it. Keep sharing your story because we need to hear it. And we're going to link soon, crew.
I'm with it. I'm ready. Let's go. All right, Queen. Have a good day.
You too. Well, thank you all for tuning in. That was amazing. I absolutely love her story and identify with it so much. For you guys who don't know, who came in late or are catching this at the end, my name is Precious. I am a life and wellness coach. My business, A Pocket of Sunshine, helps people, through their chronic trauma, pain, both mentally and physically. Um, you're having the process of a whole bunch of brand new things, so stay with me, stay tuned, and I will see you guys soon.